Hey everyone, Shane here with Shane's Premier League prediction show for Game Week 9. Thank you so much to everybody who subscribed and liked my videos so far. It's much appreciated. So now, let's crack on with the show. West Ham and Brighton. West Ham will be looking to get another home win under their belts this evening as the Seagulls come to the London Stadium. However, this task will be made a lot harder for the Hammers, as they will be without one of their most influential strikers, Andy Carroll, after his 2 yellow cards last week for really a similar offence within 90 seconds. So therefore, that leaves Diafra Sacco and Chicharito Hernandez with their work cut out to try and find goals for West Ham as they look to keep their good run of home form going. As for Brighton, they've come off the back of a good draw against Everton, and they've had a steady enough start to Premier League life. This should be a good game to get the Premier League weekend underway. In this game, I've gone for West Ham to nick the game 1-0. On to Chelsea and Watford. Chelsea managed to draw their game to Roma in the Champions League in midweek. This was a bit of a shock, as Chelsea were 2-0 up in the game, managed to go 3-2 down, but Eden Hazard managed to rescue a point for the Blues. Watford have come off a good victory against Arsenal. They were 1-0 down and managed to turn the game on its head to win 2-1. So they'll be confident going to the bridge tomorrow, and they've also had a good away record so far this season. Chelsea look to return to winning ways in the league after 2 defeats also. So there's a bit of pressure on them to win the game tomorrow, as they're the champions of England and they need to get their season back on track. However, I wouldn't be looking at a crisis yet for the Blues. We'll see what happens. I've gone for a 2-0 Chelsea win. Huddersfield and Manchester United. Huddersfield have gone off the boil a bit lately, and Manchester United just seem to keep winning. So I've gone for a Manchester United win here at 2-0. I reckon Romelu Lukaku will grab at least one goal, and maybe Marcus Rashford might get another goal. Who knows? The Premier League has thrown up a few shocks, but I reckon it's going to be a win for the Red Devils tomorrow to keep their good run of form going. However, for Huddersfield, they need to revive their season after recent defeats against Spurs, West Ham and Swansea. After quite a good start. I don't think it's going to get any easier tomorrow though, but we'll see what happens. On to Manchester City and Burnley. Manchester City are obviously flying at the moment, folks. They're top of the league by 2 points, behind their neighbours Manchester United after their draw at Anfield last week. I reckon Manchester City will put on another good display, but I reckon it's going to be a bit tougher this time for the Blues, as Burnley have had a good away record so far and generally a fantastic start to the season, so fair play to them. But I can only see one winner here, and that's Manchester City. After their goal scoring spree last week, I reckon it's going to be a win for them again this week. But Burnley are going to fight as hard as they can to get a result, but I can't see it coming, and that's the way it is. So for me, anyway, 2-0 Manchester City. with maybe Sterling and De Bruyne to score. On to Newcastle and Crystal Palace. Newcastle have had a steady return to the Premier League. However, Crystal Palace only picked up their first victory last week and their first points as well. However, it was against the Blues, Chelsea. What a shock result. Apologies for my prediction there, as it was in my 3 certainties. I did not expect Crystal Palace to turn up against Chelsea, but they did. They need to keep picking up results to get their season on track. However, I've gone for a 1-0 Newcastle victory here, as they have been in good form throughout the season, especially at home. Picking up a few victories so far against West Ham and Stoke City at St James's. It might be another victory tomorrow, but then again Crystal Palace might shock again. Who knows? Time will tell. On to Stoke and Bournemouth. Stoke took an absolute hiding from Manchester City last week, succumbing to a 7-2 defeat. However, I think Man City are a different class to Stoke City, and that game was 3-2 at one stage, and during the early stages of the second half. Marouane Biram Diouf scored Stoke's goal, and I reckon he might be involved again this weekend in a 2-0 victory for Stoke, as it's more their level this week. The Man City were just out of this world, really. They were a different class, and Bournemouth's away form has been very bad so far. I cannot brighten it up any other way. Sorry, Bournemouth fans. So I reckon, seeing as Stoke are at home and they're doing okay at home, I reckon it's going to be a 2-0 win, with Marouane Biram Diouf to score, as I said, and Peter Crouch maybe to score also. On to Swansea and Leicester City. Swansea had a fantastic win last time out against Huddersfield, 2-0. Tammy Abraham scoring the 2 goals for them there. Leicester City managed to draw against West Bromwich Albion, but as I alluded to in my earlier video, the review show, Craig Shakespeare has been sacked. This was a very unfair decision by the Leicester board, in my view. I didn't think Craig deserved the sack. He was doing a very good job with Leicester City, and since Leicester City have won the league, expectations have risen big time, and it's a results business, as we all know. So it was hard luck on Mr. Shakespeare there. But as we all know, football moves on rapidly all the time. As for the result this weekend, I reckon it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I reckon the Leicester players are going to perform well as they look to put in a response to the second, and basically keep playing well, as I cannot quite see how Shakespeare did get sacked, as they've played many of the big teams so far this season. On to Southampton and West Bromwich Albion. Both these teams have drawn their last games. Southampton were involved in a 2-2 draw with Newcastle, and West Brom drew with Leicester on Monday evening. I reckon this is going to be another draw, because West Brom will be happy enough with a point on the road, and Southampton have struggled to score goals all season. They did score 2 last week, however, with Manuel Gabbiadini grabbing a brace for the Saints. I reckon it'll be a good point for West Brom if they get it. And as I said, I can't really see where the goals are going to come from for Southampton, as West Brom are well organised defensively. So 1-1 here, I reckon. Everton and Arsenal. Both teams have been going through really sticky status at various points of the season, especially Everton. They've only had 2 wins all season against Stoke and Bournemouth. Other than that, there's been very little to write home about from their point of view, and you'd be really worried. Like Everton, you wouldn't really expect them to be in this run of form, especially with all the money they've spent. It's basically similar to Southampton. They're not picking up good results as both teams would do traditionally. However, I reckon this game is also going to be a draw. Arsenal picked up a good win during the week, I know, in the Europa League, but they struggled against Watford and lost. So 1-1 at Goodison, I reckon, on Sunday, as it's time for Everton to get a result. The final game this weekend sees Spurs take on Liverpool at Wembley. This will be a tight affair. I reckon Liverpool might just edge it. Spurs will be trying their best to win it from the off. But I reckon there'll be gaps in behind for the likes of Roberto Firmino, Daniel Sturridge and Mohamed Salah to exploit. Especially after Liverpool's wonderful 7-0 win over Maribor in the Champions League during the week. I reckon the confidence is going to come on front of goal now, but Spurs are getting better at Wembley. So it could be a draw, but seeing as I'm a Liverpool supporter, I've gone for a 2-1 victory for the Reds. So that's the my predictions for this week. On to Paddy Power Hot Shot now. Huddersfield and Manchester United. I reckon Romelu Lukaku will be the first goal scorer. As I said before, all of these fellas I reckon are going to be first goal scorers, and hopefully put you on the right track as ever. But it's tough to call these days, folks. And Newcastle and Crystal Palace. Hoslu or Shelby might score here for Newcastle, I reckon. Swansea and Leicester, either Jamie Vardy or Tammy Abraham. I reckon it'll be good picks here. Southampton and West Brom. Gabbiadini is on a good run of form at the moment, as I was saying, so he might score again. Everton and Arsenal, either Wayne Rooney maybe or Alexander Lacazette. And Tottenham and Liverpool, maybe Roberto Firmino, Mohamed Salah or Harry Kane. They'd be my picks there. So that's the hot shot. On to Super 6 now. I've gone for a 2-0 victory for Manchester United over Huddersfield. Newcastle 1, Crystal Palace 0. Swansea 1, Leicester 1. Stoke City 2, Bournemouth 0. And Brentford 1, Sunderland 1. They're my Super 6 picks for this week, folks. Hopefully you'll be happy enough with them. And just while I'm at it, my 3 certainties, I think I forgot to put them in while I was doing the predictor. Manchester City, Manchester United and Chelsea. Hopefully I'm right. I got one wrong last week, but it's the only one I've got wrong throughout my time doing the show so far. So hopefully I'll be back on a good level footing this week. Now, on to my fantasy picks for this week. Chelsea are obviously at home against Watford, so I've gone for Marcus Alonso in my defence, Kyle Walker and Kevin De Bruyne in the midfield. Walker's obviously is a defender, and Kevin De Bruyne ran the midfield last week for Man City. Leroy Sané, Raheem Sterling, Bernardo Silva, basically put in anyone you like from Man City, folks. They're flying it these days. Manchester United have an away game at Huddersfield, as I alluded to earlier on. Romelu Lukaku, I reckon, will have a good game tomorrow. Roberto Firmino will hopefully be playing for Liverpool at Wembley. I reckon he might have a good game. He scored a couple in midweek. Mohamed Salah likewise. And other than that, really, you have your usual picks, like maybe a wild card like Wayne Rooney. He might score again this week. Alexander Lacazette for Arsenal. Tammy Abraham Swansea maybe. Decore has been performing well for Watford. Richarlison likewise. And Jamie Vardy is doing okay for Leicester. I know Kieran Trippier and Ben Davis have been doing okay also, but they have a tough one against Liverpool this weekend. But who knows? They might they might do well. So that's basically it for this week, folks. Thanks a million for watching. All the best. Like, subscribe, comment. Do whatever you like, but liking and subscribing it'd be preferable. But if you don't like it, feel free to comment also, and as well as that, put down good comments if you have any, and maybe constructive criticism also. But as for now, all the best from Shane. Thanks a million for watching. Take care of yourselves. Don't do anything I wouldn't. And we'll talk to you next week when I'll be back with the review show once again. All the best. Bye bye.